Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let's dive right into the discussion because what's going on in My Hero Academia chapter 309? Well, Muscular has been recaptured. We finally know the name of Midoriya's new support gear and All Might is coming out of retirement. I don't know how that's even supposed to work, but nonetheless, this chapter absolutely delivers. So my theory about Deku ending Muscular was completely off the mark. We're not going to talk about it, but Deku leaves Yo in the care of Tatami and the group of men that they were there trying to get to go with them to Ketsubutsu Academy in order for them to be safe. And what's really dope about all of this is that they finally decide, after Yo got his ass beat trying to defend them, they finally decided to, at the bare minimum, listen to what Yo has to say, Yo and Tatami has to say about the policies that Endeavor is trying to implement, getting people to go with them to these academies in order for them to be safe and, you know, get them off the streets because it's absolute pandemonium that is going on out there. You have Muscular flipping buildings. Okay, the next part of this chapter picks up with Deku linking up with All Might, and we get some details about his new support gear that he's using. They're called the mid-gauntlet compression support items. Now these are sample items, so they're prototypes, but at the end of the day, they managed to get the job done against Muscular. All Might actually tells us that the function of these gauntlets aren't to increase his power, but to increase his endurance. On page 6, we get All Might telling Midoriya in this flashback that they won't be able to withstand you using, you know, your full power at 100%, but they just need to last long enough into your fight against Shigaraki and All For One. So while All Might is talking with Midoriya about all of this, Hawks calls All Might on pages 7 and 8. In the background, you see Genie taking care of one of the escaped convicts. And I say Hawks and Genie, but it's really just Genie in the background taking care of everything because, right, he's on the phone call with All Might. Hawks asks about Deku and All Might says that he's there right before Deku takes off and goes back into the action, patrolling around, trying to clean up the villains that are left out on the street. Hawks mentions that though All Might probably has his reserves about allowing Deku to be out and about and fighting, this is the best course of action given that he has to be strong enough in order to take down Shigaraki and All For One. Pages 9 and 10 of the chapter is where we really start cooking, alright? When I read this, I'm like, this brings into question what happened after the war, right? Because this man, Deku, was going off with all of his attacks, so what happened? What was the aftermath that happened to Deku? Immediately after the war, I'm guessing all the heroes went back to the same hospital, it would seem. Because we learned that afterwards, the heroes went to the hospital with Recovery Girl and the other doctors that were there, and they began administering treatment to them. The doctor looking over Deku remarks on him and his body because, I mean, this man has been there so frequently, his chart looks something like a dictionary, okay? So the doctor's talking with Deku about his past injuries and how they warned him that if he used this quirk that he might not be able to function his limbs anymore. It's extremely high, the possibilities of him becoming immobile. He also remarks that even though the nature of his injuries are similar, his body has changed drastically and he's basically gained the ability to handle the output of One For All. Not 100%, 45%, but considering this man used to be at just 5%, the fact that he bumped it up 40% and isn't, you know, crippling himself while doing so is it's an extremely tremendous feat that he has accomplished. So the doctor actually explains it as Deku's body letting off all these little explosions whenever he used One For All. During his fight with Shigaraki, he was able to somehow wrap and reinforce his limbs from the outside in order to keep his body from completely breaking down on him during the fight. Don't know how that's possible, but we just gonna let it rock for right now. So after saying all of this, the doctor's like, the deterioration hasn't stopped, so be careful. Guys, how messed up would it be if the series ended because Deku physically can't fight anymore or use his arms? Obviously, I'm being a little stupid when I say this, but I mean, Hirokoshi did say deterioration. And if something is deteriorating, that means it's actively being broken down. Even when Deku's not doing anything, if something is deteriorating, no matter what is happening, it's just withering away. So Hirokoshi's too smart to just use that word and there would be no implications leading forward about Deku's current medical status. Pages 11 through 17, absolutely heart-pulling, okay? You know when this part of the manga gets animated, they're gonna absolutely slap, alright? Just go on and cue the sad, depressing music right now because you already know it's coming. Alright, so prepare yourself now. So what we get from these next few pages is All Might telling Deku's mom about All For One and One For All. We don't know how much he says, but we know like he did say something to her. He asked for Deku's permission to tell her, and then he tells her, and then it ends with him saying something about the plan to keep him locked away in UA and safe and out of the fray. But like with Deku being right there, he overhears this And he was like, no, I'm not going to be locked away. I'm not going to let people fight at my expense while I'm safe and allow other people to risk their lives. Like, that's not the type of person he is, and that's not the way that he wants to go out. So with him telling All Might this, and now because everyone's like, his mom hears him and his mom's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, that's not what I want. You barely survived last time. I can't see you go through that. And Deku just was like, yo, then I gotta get stronger. Like, flat out. Like, there, and actually Deku actually says there's no point in hiding because Shigaraki can just find me whenever he wants. By him hiding, he's just doing himself a disservice because he's not able to get stronger, and when he does get caught, if he was to chill at UA, he loses instantly. So I like ballsy Deku. I'm just throwing that out there, okay? He's ready to take the fight to Shigaraki, and I think he got what it takes. But that's just me. Alright, that's just me. That's just my opinion. You could have a completely different opinion. You could think that he's stupid. I mean, hell, when they tried to lock Naruto away, right? Naruto and Killer Bee at the beginning of the 4th Grade Shinobi War, he was ready to rumble too. You can't just lock these people away and say, yeah, I'm gonna die for you, but you stay safe. Hell no. Because they don't want that on their conscience. Deku doesn't want that on their conscience. So I think he's doing the correct play by stepping up, wanting to take the fight to Shigaraki. I'm completely fine with him going rogue, becoming a vigilante, and like, you know, just laying waste. He's really getting his name. Well, actually, I don't even know if he's getting his name out there. We haven't even seen anything from the other UA students up until this point, or at all, because we're basically living in a flashback for most of this chapter. But with the last 2 pages, we see Deku visiting Gran Torino in the hospital right before leaving. He says some of the, you know, the darkest, realest mess I have ever heard in this manga up until this date. He says, killing is also a way of saving. Don't ever forget that. And the last page is Deku teaming up with the top 3 heroes to go into battle, and that's the end of the chapter. Is this man going to war right now against the League? That's my question, okay? Is this really the end? Like, it seems like he's heading off now. It seems like he's heading off to fight Shigaraki right now. Like, that's what it's seeming like. It's him and the top 3 heroes leaving right now. Damn. Like, where's Mario? Like, no, Mario needs to be there. I'm not going to drag this video out any longer than what it needs to be. This chapter was fire. Absolutely loved it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. If you are new, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. Lets me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about the chapter, what you think is really going on. How close is this series really to ending if Deku is already teaming up with the top 3 heroes and ready to go to war? What's the rush? Right? I mean, this is a little bit pleasant, other than, you know, mangaka's really dragging out their series, but I mean, now you're swinging the pendulum completely the opposite direction and you're rushing to the end. All right, but like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fancy stuff, and like always, until next time, I'm out.
Attempting to breach our system. We own all zones. Another day, another dollar.